All right. Hey there, everybody. It's Thursday, and it looks like we're doing coffee chat on Thursdays now because that just is how it seems to be shaking out. I'm so happy to be back doing coffee chat for you guys because I think this is one of the funnest things that we do. And also, just as a reminder before we get started today, that all of our coffee chats are available in podcast form also. You could go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, and you'll be able to find all of this. And we're going to repost this conversation later on, so you can listen to it as many times as you want while you're walking the dog. So I'd like to welcome one of my favorite people in this whole planet, my dear friend, Hoda Afifi, who is live with us from Cairo. Hello, Hoda. How are you?
I am doing great, and I miss you big time.
I miss you too. So Hoda, if you guys don't know Hoda, she has been my tour guide and partner in crime for quite a while now in Egypt. We bonded through the fires of guiding a group during the kind of worst part of the pandemic when everything was shutting down. And we've done a bunch of tours since then together. And Hoda is not only the most fantastic guide in Egypt, but she's also just like, I don't know, she's so good. She is so good at what she does. So I thought it'd be fun today for her and I to catch up a little bit and let you guys listen in. And also, I thought it would be fun to discuss the new Egypt itinerary that she and I have cooked up, because we have had a really good time trying to think about if we could do anything in Egypt, what would we do, right?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah, for your nice and kind words. You made my day, and you're the best sister ever.
Well, same. So we're very lucky to each have great sisters. So you have been working a lot, and just to kind of go back to the beginning for people that don't really know you, you've been a tour guide for how long? What, 15 years, maybe more?
Nearly 18 years now. I started guiding in 2005. I had two degrees. My first degree or major was history. The second degree was Egyptology. So I've done everything related to ancient Egyptian history and archaeology. I did study the ancient Egyptian language as well. I've been guiding in Egypt since 2005 to 2015. Between 2015 and 18, I was in United Arab Emirates too. And I used to be guiding, and I was specialized mainly in food tour and cooking and food tour and walking tours. So I used to take people for walking tours around the old part of Dubai, and I used to do day tours for Dubai and Abu Dhabi. 2018, I came back to Egypt, and here I am, still doing my favorite job. It's not a job, it's passion. It's everything. And what makes me happy in this life is my job.
And Omer, who I'm sure is
And
lurking
Omar, of
around
course.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I keep seeing little fingers coming onto the screen. Omer is her son, and he loves being on screen too, I think.
He does. You know, he was just saying, "Can I say hi? Can I say hi?"
You
Yeah,
can
Omar
say
is
hi.
9. Yeah, Omar is 9. I think he went outside to get something. You would see him. Definitely. He was like, he wanted to say something, but I was busy. So he wrote something, and he was writing for me whatever he wants because he didn't want anyone to hear his voice. So it was like writing a note. He
Oh,
knows
that's so
that
cute.
the best chance to get what he wants is when my mom busy and she cannot say no to him. So he's smart.
Oh, smart kid. So he asks for what he wants when he sees that people are too busy to really be paying attention.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, that's just kind of the way kids are. They're always smart that way. My kids are kind of smart that way too. So
Yeah.
anyway, so you've been guiding a really long time. And what is your favorite thing? I think I know the answer to this, but of all the things in Egypt that there are to see, what is your favorite thing to take people to see? I think I know the answer.
I think I know too. I mean, of course, the ancient Egyptian temples, and my favorite temple ever is the Karnak temple, which is the largest, the biggest archaeological site that we have in Egypt. And believe it or no, I feel that I'm connected to this place. I'm related to this place. And you can tell, like every single time that we go to this place, I have this super energy, even if I'm tired, exhausted, and it gives me this sort of like beautiful, positive energy. It's a big jungle of stone, and every single section of this temple has a story to tell. You can spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, a whole day. And with all the new uh, restoration that they are doing at the temple, there is even more that people can see.
Yeah, because you and I had talked about maybe doing with our group eventually the walk of that Avenue of Lions, right? Or is it
Yes,
Lions?
the Sphinx. Yeah,
Sphinx.
the Sphinx Avenue. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Sphinx Avenue. We thought if the time allow is to walk between Luxor and Karnak Temple, it's 2.7 kilometers, like
It's not that
only
bad.
the distance. So if we do an early visit to the temple, we can walk between the two temples. That would be a great and fun activity that we can maybe do in our next 2024 tour.
Oh, that would be really fun. So with Hoda, I have visited the Great Pyramids of Giza. I have visited the Egyptian Museum. I have visited Karnak, the Temple at Luxor, the Temple of Isis at Aswan. We've gone to the Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens. We've done a hot air balloon ride. We cruised the Nile. We saw temples along the Nile. We went to Abu Simbel. So we have done all these cool things. And I think that Egypt is definitely on everybody's bucket list, I guess you could say, of dream destinations, because it's just such a great place to travel. So what are your Karnak is your number one. I thought you were going to say something different. So what are maybe your top 5 things that you think people should see in Egypt?
Yeah, Karnak definitely, and Queen Hatshepsut Temple is my favorite too. As she's a role model. She's a lady that ruled the country over 3,000 years ago for 22 successful years, and she managed to do something that females at the moment are struggling to achieve. Being able to rule a country for 22 years, and it has so many achievements. A smart lady, and yeah, the Hatshepsut Temple and Karnak, they're almost the same. Like my favorites. Both places are my favorite. And also taking people on walking tours around all the port of Cairo, that's quite interesting. To see how people live and everyday life of Egyptians, people smoking the shisha and people buying and selling, bargaining. So doing the walk of all the Cairo, that's an interesting part that I enjoy too.
Yeah, I think Cairo is one of those cities that you really have to go to experience it and see. I think there is no other city in the world that I've been to that really makes me feel like I'm Indiana Jones. You really feel like somebody's going to come out around the corner with, like, a whip or something like that. It's just, there's something very, I don't know, kind of super exotic about Cairo for some reason.
Cairo is a big city. We're talking about 25 million people who live in one city, so it's always busy. It's difficult to understand. And the thing is that when travelers come to Egypt, they only get to see all the historical part of the city. They don't never get the chance to go and explore the new modern parts of the city, new gated communities, beautiful, well planned areas. So maybe this is something that we will include for 2024, is to show
Yeah.
people the old and the new part of the city too.
Yeah.
Egyptian Museum,
That was
yeah,
what I was going
Egyptian
to ask you
Museum is a big
next.
thing,
What's the deal? What's the deal with that Egyptian museum? It was supposed to open like 5 years ago.
We're talking about the Grand Egyptian Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to open 2022, but we were hit by COVID, so the opening was postponed. Now it's open for a trial phase, where they allow people into like some specific sections of the museum, but the entire museum is not open yet. Hopefully, November 2023 this year it will be open. More than 95% of the museum is finished, and maybe they are just trying now to allow certain number of travelers every day to see or to have a better understanding and a better picture, imagination for the project, for the museum when it's fully opened. So hopefully at the end of this year it will be opened.
So you've been in, I think you said you were going to
I've
go.
been, yeah,
Tell
I've
me.
been in, yeah, I've
Tell,
been
what's
in.
it like?
It's a massive. It's gonna be the best. I've been to Louvre Abu Dhabi, and it's in Abu Dhabi they made the Louvre like Louvre France, and it's the newest museum in the Middle East. The Grand Egyptian Museum would be 10 times bigger Louvre Abu Dhabi, and it has the biggest collection of artifacts. For the very first time, we will have the whole collection of King Tutankhamun. The 5,000 artifacts that used to be between Cairo Museum, Sharm el-Sheikh Museum, Luxor Museum. For the first time, we will see the 5,000 pieces in one place.
Wow.
So the whole collection of King Tut treasure will be at the museum. We'll have a new educational museums like Children Museum. We will have a whole area with like a food court, the shopping area, a big selection of ancient Egyptian artifacts will be displayed at the new museum. In addition to the two boats, if you remember when we used to go to the Giza pyramids, there was like a big sailing boat, 4,500 years old, that used to be buried behind the Great Pyramid. A year ago, they decided to remove this boat together with another one that was discovered 2008, and the two boats will be displayed at the museum, the Grand Egyptian Museum.
I'm excited about that part because that boat was amazing. It looked brand new, and you couldn't believe it was that old, but that building was so hot. Like they needed to move it somewhere. So that's good.
No, yeah, and the new museum, of course, it's the new modern. Every single piece will be labeled. It's well lit. People can easily spend a day or two, and that's why for our 2024 will allow a whole the first half of the day only for this museum. So we can see whatever we want to see. We can take a break. We can have lunch maybe at the museum and then go and see the rest of the museum because we know that it's once in a lifetime and we want our group to enjoy every single moment of this visit.
Well, and the other thing we're doing next year, which I'm very excited about, is that Hoda and I have decided that our groups deserve somewhat nicer hotels. So the hotel we're staying at, I'm really excited about. It's a Hyatt, and you can float around in their pool, and you can look at the pyramids from the pool, right? Because you live kind of close to there, I think, right?
Yes, yeah. I live from the Hyatt hotel, maybe 10-15 minutes drive, and I'm overlooking the pyramids, as you know. So yeah, we're staying in nice, very nice hotels, like 5-star hotel. We're staying in Cairo, Hyatt West Cairo, and we're staying in Aswan in a hotel overlooking the Nile. And in Luxor, we're staying at Steigen Burger, the Nile Palace. It's a beautiful, and it's overlooking the Nile with a beautiful swimming pool overlooking the mountains of the Valley of the Kings.
Nice.
So yeah, and and then this time we've decided that towards the end of our tour, our group must have a nice, relaxing end to the busy tour. So the last 2 days of our tour will be in Hurghada, and Hurghada is a beautiful beach city. It's about 4.5 hours driving from Luxor, and it's by the Red Sea, where we will enjoy staying at the Marriott Hotel, which is overlooking the sea. And then the next day, we're gonna hire a private yacht, and our tour group will go swimming, snorkeling, enjoying, and having lunch on our private yacht as well.
So is it going to be warm enough at that time of year in March to do swimming and stuff?
Usually, usually the Red Sea is hotter than the rest of the country. So for March, March actually is the beginning of spring in Egypt. So it's not the winter time; it's the beginning of spring, and the weather is just nice.
That's why we kind of timed it perfectly, I think, because it'll be not hot, but it'll be nice enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
How hot is it right now? It's got to be what, like 100 degrees?
Almost. I was there like 15 days ago in Luxor and Aswan, and it was 108. And this is not the hottest. Yeah, this is not the hottest is still to come. The hottest will be July, August, and we're talking 115, 116.
Oh my gosh.
Trust me, there is still people who come. Egypt, and I'm happy to say it, Egypt is doing really very well, and it seems that Egypt is trending this year. To let you just have an idea, this April we had 1.5 million just for April, 1.5
Wow.
million coming to visit Egypt. Last year, about 11 million came and visited Egypt, 11 million travelers. So we're expecting that 2024 there will be more business coming to Egypt, which is good to see
Wow.
after the two dead years of the COVID when there was no one coming to Egypt. So it's good to see that everyone is working, all the hotels, Nile cruises, and even owners of the Nile cruises are river boats because there's big demand. They are building more. Some people, they are doing their bookings in some of the Nile cruises and river boats that is still under construction for
Oh my
2024,
gosh.
2025. Yes, yeah,
But
five-star
see,
hotels
yeah, and this
and
is the thing.
four-star,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, five-star hotel, four-star hotel, even hostels, even the hostels. So it's good to see it.
It's good to see it, but this is a problem because this is the same thing I'm hearing from Morocco as well as we're trying to plan out our tours in Morocco, is that like people are saying, oh, we need full payment for the hotels right now. And you're like, what? That's more than a year in advance. But everything is getting booked up so far in advance that like you were asking me for the name list for the tours like just yesterday. And that's like not quite a year in advance, but a lot. I mean, way further in advance than we've ever been asked before. So I think that
Yeah,
that's just an important thing for people who are listening to note that 2024, 2025 is going to be crazy. And if you don't make your reservations way ahead, you're not going to get the better places, I guess.
exactly. Yeah, because it will easily be, especially with, I mean, our business is a small business, but the big tour companies, they have bigger volume of business, so they easily book all the big nice hotels, and we want to guarantee that we will have our place, and we'll be able to book nice rooms and nice hotels, and even with I mean the airlines. In Egypt, we have only one carrier, Egypt Air, so we always try ahead of time to book our flights, the domestic flights, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the important part, is that like you really can't do a last minute trip to Egypt. I do have a question for you though, because I'm curious about this. What about people that want to go to Egypt on their own? They don't want to book a tour. How does that work? Because I know that there's a lot of rules and restrictions about where travelers can go. And I'm not sure how you would do that if you were just an individual traveler.
You have to be very experienced traveler if you would like to come to because not so many people in Egypt speak English, and also there are lots of regulation. Like for example, if someone want to take the train, there's only one train that travelers are allowed to take, which is the sleeper train, and the ticket for the sleeper train is not. It's like $120 dollars, and it's almost what you would pay for to fly, not for the train. Travelers are not allowed to take tourists. I mean, not allowed to take the normal seated train, which is ways cheaper, and this is for security reason. Um, Egypt is and especially big cities like Cairo is not easy to navigate on your own, especially for females.
Yeah,
Especially for
yeah, and
females.
that's the reason that I think that you and I are so interested in like really kind of expanding what we offer in tours, because what I've discovered is that really it's not a reasonable place to do, especially as a woman traveling by herself. Like doing Egypt without a group is not really the best idea you've ever had. I mean, for a variety of reasons, right? Because it's the hotels all being booked out by groups way in advance. It's the regulations, like you can't, as far as I know, a woman cannot take like the subway in Cairo, right? Like a foreign woman.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, especially for someone who doesn't speak the language. For a tourist, they do look very different from Egyptians. So they will get lots of attention, and especially if she's a female. A female can take the subway if she wants, if she has the courage to take the subway. We have expats who live
That's
and
what it
work
is.
in
There's a
Egypt.
carriage. There's a special
Yeah,
carriage you have to take. Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, yeah. And even catching a taxi moving from one place to another with people that don't speak the language, or if they do, they speak the minimum amount of English. So Egypt is not an easy country for solo females to travel. If I were if I were non-Egyptian, I would never come to Egypt as a solo female.
Well, unless you're with a group, right?
Unless I'm with a group, or I'm traveling with someone that I know,
Yeah.
a friend who's already been to Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah, because Egypt is just, I think Egypt is one of the more special destinations in that way, that it's not dangerous. That's not really the right word. It's just that it's a more challenging destination. I actually thought it was funny because I'm so used to Cairo now that everybody, when I was in India, they're like, oh, India is so hard. India is such a difficult destination. You're going to be shocked and overwhelmed. And I got to Delhi and I'm like, is this it? Like, is this all you got?
Come to Cairo.
Yeah, I'm like, this is nothing compared to Cairo. Everybody's like, oh, Delhi's the most chaotic place you're ever going to go. And I'm like, no, actually, Delhi's really super well organized. It's very, very tidy. Like the people all speak English. It's so easy. I think it's such a funny misconception that India is like this really difficult destination, when in fact, compared to Egypt, it's a snap. And the thing is that people don't realize that Cairo is the largest city by population in all of Africa. Like, it's a crazy big city.
Yeah, but believe it or not, it has its own magic. It's shocking for the first time, yeah, but second, third time you get used to this organized. We call it organized chaos.
Yes.
Organized chaos, yes. Everybody knows what he's doing, and it has it. Cairo is Cairo. Cairo will still has its own beauty, that different to any other place.
It does. And I think that once you just sort of like let go of your expectations, I think it's fine. I think part of what surprises travelers when they arrive is like, we stay out in Giza, right by the pyramids, and you have to take that taxi or shuttle between the airport and Giza, which is not a big deal actually for people. When you arrive, you just go into, you can arrange in the luggage collection area for a transfer if you want. And I've never had any problem. They've been really nice, everybody who's ever driven me to a hotel. But when you get on that ring road, that's the first thing that people see of Cairo. And it's not just that it's like 20 lanes of absolute chaos. Like there's like donkeys on the freeway, and there's people pulling over in little vans, and people milling around the freeway trying to hitch a ride. And like, it's kind of this scene like you've never seen before. But I think the thing that most people mistake about Cairo is that you see all of the housing that they've built that's kind of like half falling down housing. But that's not Cairo. That's just sort of like this unfortunate whatever, kind of
slums. The slums. The slums. And that's what made the recent government now force people that their houses is right by the ring road to paint the outside of their house, whether it's finished or unfinished, because we ended up that Cairo and this particular part of the city became really very ugly. And it's, as you just said, that's Omar. He's here.
Hi, sweetie.
Say hi. Hi. Yes, they are trying their best to make it a little bit more organized. So yeah, that's Omar, and he wants to drink this. Okay,
a Pepsi.
And he knows Pepsi, and he knows that he's not allowed. So when is the best time to ask for this? When my mom is busy, right? And my mom's gonna say, no, you're not drinking this. I'm sorry.
And you'll drink it also?
No, I'm not gonna drink it. Enough for now.
Omer is going to be a tour guide someday too, I think. He speaks how many languages now? 3, right?
Yeah, he speaks Arabic, English, and German.
And he's quite a character too. He's look at that little smile. Hey there, baby. How you doing?
Seven says, how are you doing? Hey. Good. He's good.
Good. He looks like he's grown a lot.
He's 8.5 now, almost 8.5.
Man, time flies by so fast. He was a little pup when I met him, just a little tiny, like miniature human. So a little miniature Hoda. So
yeah, mini. I always say he's mini me.
He is. He is a lot like you. That's for sure. Small but mighty, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So of all the things that we're talking about for next year, what is the thing you're most excited about? Because I can tell you, I'll start. The thing I'm most excited about for our tour next year is that we have a much nicer boat. I'm very excited about that.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll have a nicer, and trust me, it makes a huge difference when when cruising in the Nile in a nice Nile cruise, comfortable beds, clean rooms, good food, it makes the whole experience different too. And also, we will be including more meals in nice restaurants. Like, for example, we will, after visiting the Giza pyramids, we will be having lunch at one of the newly opened restaurants overlooking the pyramids. So you will be sitting literally having your lunch between the two Giza pyramids, Khufu and Kefren. You will see the three of them while you're having your lunch. So we made some good choices for places where we will be having our meals.
Oh, I'm so excited about this, Hoda. So Hoda's worked for all of the big tour companies. So if you're looking to get to go to Egypt, you know, she's worked for all of them. And basically she's just along the way picked up intelligence. She's learned sort of the tricks of what makes a fantastic tour. And she's learned from everybody, you know, and so that's what's really cool is that we've learned our lessons. And so we want to put together something that is kind of unique in the sense that it's high quality for the price. You know, it's really good value. So the one thing that I wanted to just note, though, people that are thinking about traveling in Egypt, you may think, well, Egypt is going to be cheap. It's Africa, you know, and a lot of African countries are cheap, but that's not really the case because the problem with Egypt, and I'm sure Hoda will be able to talk more about this, but is that there's a difference between cheap and quality, right? In Egypt.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of is a situation where you kind of, if you want to have an experience that is a little bit more quality, you sort of need to pay Europe prices, don't you?
Exactly. And you get what you paid for. If you want to pay cheap, you will get not that great experience. If you want to pay a little bit extra, you will enjoy. You will have a nicer experience. At the end of your day, you want to have a nice meal. Of course, you want to do all the highlights of Egypt. That you want to go to the pyramids like everyone. You want to do the museum, but at the end of your day, you want to have your personal time where you can go for a swim at your hotel, have a nice, decent meal, and all these little features. I can tell you now that they make huge difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like you kind of get what you pay for in Egypt more than any other place because, you know, hotels that are going to cost you $50 a night seem like a great deal until you get there. And, you know, just to give you a price comparison, you know, we stayed last time that I was in Cairo, I stayed at the Mina House, which is a Marriott, which Marriotts are very expensive. And I think that, you know, if you went to the Marriott in New York City, it would be $500 or $600 a night. But the one in Cairo was expensive. It was like $400 a night, which seems insane. But what do you get for that? You have breakfast looking at the Great Pyramid. Like it's a really funny thing because like, you know, to do the quality stuff is, you know, more expensive, but boy, the payoff is pretty big too, I think, when you do it right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a journey of a lifetime. It's a trip of a lifetime. You know, you're not gonna come to Egypt every day,
Except for me and you.
and especially if this is going to be your first, of course. No, I'm talking about people that maybe Egypt is the first African country. So if you are coming to Africa, to the Middle East, and Egypt is your first experience, you want to make sure that you're staying in nice places.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot more to do besides the stuff we do, because we do Cairo, we do Saqqara, we do Luxor, Karnak, Valley of the Temples, Nile Cruise, and all the temples along the Nile. We do Aswan, and then we're going to Hurghada. But for people who are coming, there's other stuff to do too. Like I haven't been actually to Alexandria. How is that? I'd love to go.
Alexandria, people can do it in like a day trip. That includes lots of traveling. It's like 3 hours drive each way. Not much left from ancient Alexandria, except for the Greco-Roman catacomb, the tombs under the ground, then modern Library of Alexandria. You get to Alexandria to to see the Mediterranean. Get
Yeah.
to Alexandria to have a nice seafood meal, learn more about the modern Alexandria. Not much left from ancient Alexandria, because basically more than half of Alexandria has gone under the Mediterranean due to ancient earthquakes and tsunami. So not much left. So we always advise people that if you want to go to Alexandria, try to lower your expectations, because not much to do. If you have one extra day, or if you've arrived one day um, uh, before the trip, prior to the trip, and you want to do something that is not included in your tour, maybe Alexandria could be a good option. But people need to keep in mind that it will the visit will include around 6 hours drive, like 3 hours each way. And yeah, so Alexandria is something that people can do.
Yeah, and you can just find day tours, right, from Cairo that you can book for that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many platforms that sells day tours, and even if they contact you and someone that decided in our tour that to do it, we can do help facilitating this day trip if they are arriving 1 or 2 days before the trip, or if they're staying 1 or 2 days after the trip. For example, this is something that we could easily facilitate.
Okay. And one other thing I was thinking about is, what if people, they don't want to do like a group trip? Can you arrange kind of smaller trips for people?
Exactly. Exactly. Um, a family of four, two, this could be an option as well. I mean, it's like a tailor-made tour. If people don't want to spend, like our tour for 2024 is 13 days, but let's say that someone want only spend 10 days, we can tailor-made a tour. They tell us what they are into it, what they're interested to see, or if they're looking for an 8 days tour or a 10 days tour, we can send them a tailor-made trip, and we can add things. So yeah, this could be an option as well if people don't want to do a group trip, individual. It's easy. That's something that we can do it too.
And if people just want to hang out with Hoda in Cairo, that's also possible,
That
right?
that's always possible. That's always possible. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just want like a day tour with Hoda, because Hoda is of course a superstar. So if you're arriving in Cairo and you want to do something maybe different, she can do all kinds. She can do everything. She's the best. So she can do everything. One of the museums that opened up recently that I have really enjoyed is that National Museum of Egyptian Culture.
Yeah,
So are there
Civilization
any
Museum.
plans? Yeah, are there any plans to open any other museums? Because those two, I know we do, the National Egyptian Museum, National Museum of Egyptian Culture and the Grand Egyptian Museum are the two that I think about. But what other museums are interesting to see?
No, those museums. I mean, the Civilization Museum. This is the one that has the mummy. It has so one section has the 26 royal mummies that used to be at the old museum, and they moved it there. And then they keep adding more and opening more exhibition rooms into the Civilization Museum. So last time that we went there were the mummies in addition to about 2,000 artifacts. Now, in this section, we have 5,000 artifacts instead of 2,000. And they open a textile exhibition within the Civilization Museum. And we have another 4 exhibitions to be opened. So more to be added to the same museum, which is the Civilization Museum. But let's say if people are into Islamic history and architecture, we do have the Museum of Islamic Civilization. This is near to which is nearby to the Christian neighborhood that has it has number of old churches that dates back to the 3rd and 4th century AD. So the
Wow.
Christian Museum and the Civilization Museum, these are 2 museums that are good to see. in addition to the Cairo Museum and Civilization and the Grand Egyptian Museum.
So really,
many-
you could easily spend a week in Cairo, right? Because we're doing what? We're expanding our
That's-
Cairo coverage to what, 5 days now, 4 days. So that's more than we've done in the
almost
past.
Yes, yeah. We are spending more time because of the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum the same day, but with the new museum, it will be impossible to do both of them at the same time. We won't be able to enjoy it. That's why we will do the Giza pyramids and something fun, like a fun activity later in the day.
I think I know what that fun activity is, but I know it's a surprise. We can't say.
Like going to the Tinto market, for example, is the Tinto market, for example. And I know that you love the Tinto market, and this will be something that we can do in addition to some other surprises that we're not going to tell people till they see it.
Yeah, and actually the tent market, I don't know if any of you who are watching remember, but that was a place I went year before last. And we had a quilt made for, or I bought a quilt for the wall. They're just these beautiful handmade quilts that are, for what they are, really good value, but it comes from a tradition of making tents for when the king of Egypt used to go around and visit his subjects. So it's kind of an old-fashioned tradition. And Hoda had beautiful pillows made for me and my family with our names on them. So very cool. It's a very cool thing. So that's something I think that's a fun addition, especially for people who are crafty or quilters.
And not so, and the area is not visited by so many travelers.
No, it's not.
And unless you're really interested or you're looking for something like this, so not so many people get there, and that's why we're including this into our 2024 tour.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. That's going to be really fun. Of course, I'm probably going to end up buying another quilt, which I shouldn't, because they're really, really beautiful. They're each like individual works of art. So that's something very fun. Actually, the table runner on my table right now, I bought when I was with you last time. So I think it's going to be just so much fun to just sort of do things a little bit more in depth than what we've done. That's what I'm really excited about doing with you. So
and between us, we know what works best for our groups. I mean, we've done enough. We've done enough tours together to get to know each other, and there's this sort of harmony between us, and and we call it telepathy. Telepathy. We read we read each other's minds.
We do. We read each other's minds. So yeah, it's the dynamic duo. So for the people that are a little bit on the fence about going to Egypt because they might be concerned about, safety, what is your take on that as far as safety goes? Because one of the things people should know is if you go to Egypt on a tour, it doesn't matter if it's my tour or any other tour, there are days we have to have security with us, and they're armed security. And that for some people is a little bit like surprising.
Yeah, I mean, the security issue is some sort of an overreaction from the Egyptian government. First, because tourism is very, very important to Egypt. 1 out of 7 in Egypt works in tourism. And when something happens, very, very little, it becomes very, very big on media and news channel. And so whenever people hear about Egypt, they only hear when something bad happens. So the government and the Ministry of Interior Police want to make sure that everything runs smoothly, and they think that when they send with us police escorts, that will make people feel safe. They don't know that for some people that are not used to see armed soldiers with them, that's scary. But we end up that having those soldiers, they become like a third eye. They come with us, they help, they keep an eye on everyone. So yeah, it just some sort of overreaction from our government, because during the last 10 years we had some incidents, and so they want to make sure that everything's safe. But I have to tell you that from so many of the travelers that they come on my tours, they always say that they felt safer in Egypt than some cities in their own homes.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. I live in Seattle, in a part of Seattle that's a very nice area, but if you walk, I don't know, 10 minutes to the west of here, it's the most dangerous city in the entire, or dangerous street in the entire city. So when people ask me how dangerous is it to travel, especially to Africa, especially to Egypt, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. It's fine. But yeah, it is nice to, I love actually having our guards with us because they're so funny. They're always really nice. They're always really funny. They always tell jokes and things like that. But what I really appreciate is they are so good at, from 5 minutes into being with the group, they remember everybody's faces. And so if we're missing somebody, they're like, I'll go get them. And they go and they find them like immediately. They're kind of like having, yeah, an extra pair of hands really, which is really nice. Even if our groups are not that big, we only take like 16 people. It's still nice to have that extra person just to kind of make sure, especially at the pyramids, everybody goes their own direction to have that extra pair. Yeah, so that's good. So yeah, I mean, if you see somebody, I think that's just a thing for everybody who's going to Egypt to know that if you, any kind of group tour you do, whether you're traveling as an individual and you've booked day tours or whatever, you're going to end up with a security person. And that's another layer of the cost, because I know that Egypt, like I said, should seem cheap, but it's not, because there's all these things. We have to pay for a police escort for our bus. So it adds up, but it's worth it, I think.
Yeah, it is. I just had a group of 11, and I just finished with them like 2 days ago, and I still had the police escort for me every single day. But they were fun to have, only with 11 people. They were fun to have. They were always there. They were always helping and assisting. Even my group, every day they would ask, what's the name of our escort today, police escort today? And they were having this good relationship with them, talking to them, enjoying their company. So every day we used to have a new friend in the bus.
Yeah, of course, my favorite story about our police escorts was what happened this past fall. I'll never like stop laughing about that. So my boyfriend came with me on the Egypt tour just for Cairo. And the security guard, I was kind of chatting with him, and I don't know that I'd say I flirt with the guards, but I'm very nice to them because I want to express confidence and calm to my group with those guys, so they're not intimidated by them, right? So I chat them up, I tell them jokes, stuff like that. So the guy goes up to my boyfriend and says, "Is that your wife?" And he said, "No, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. We've only been dating for like a few months. So no, yeah." And, you know, it's, but, you know, it's, and he starts to explain our relationship, which was, I mean, I don't know why he did that. It was just really funny because like, that's what he did. And the guy goes, "Okay, so it's not your wife." "No, it's not." "So how many camels do you want for her?" He offered Otto like 30 camels or something for me, something like that. And the bottom line is that I told him, from now on, when you travel with me in the Middle East, when somebody says, "Is that your wife?" you say yes.
Exactly.
Or you're going to accidentally sell me for 30 camels.
Exactly, exactly. They don't understand the concept of boyfriend and girlfriend. That doesn't exist.
No,
He's with you,
not,
he's your husband. That's it.
yeah. So that's like our joke now, is that like, if somebody says, "Is that your wife?" you say, "Yes, it is." Although I might have been sold for 30 camels. I'm not sure. I didn't really see the end of that deal, how that went down. But anyway,
No,
but it's
no, 30 is not good enough. You deserve a million camel.
a million camels. All right, now I know.
Yes.
So that actually leads me to a completely random question. Camel rides. People love riding camels. That's one of the questions I get all the time in Morocco and Jordan as well about camels is, are they nice to the camels there when you want to do a camel ride? Where is the best place to do a camel ride in Egypt?
Actually, at the Giza pyramids, and I have to tell you that the camels are well tamed and well treated. You never see anyone who's whipping or mistreating the animal. They do look after their animals, especially at the Giza pyramids, as the animal looks after the entire family. The camel looks after the entire family. So, and they see that if they mistreat their animals, people will not be riding. And we make sure that whenever we do offer a camel ride to our group, that we're only using the best healthy, good-looking animals that are not mistreated. So if people want to go on a camel ride, the best place would be at the panorama, which is part of the Giza Plateau, where people can go and see the 9 pyramids, the 3 big ones in addition to the little tiny ones. And it's like a tourist, not like the one in Morocco. Like Morocco, they go for an hour or two or more. In Egypt or at the Giza pyramids, it's roughly half an hour just to have the feeling of the desert and have your photo. You can go on a camel ride anywhere in the world, but you never have the pyramids at the background unless you're here in Egypt.
That's the truth of it, though. That is a really fun thing. And those guys really know how to take good pictures too. So that's a lot of fun. So we'll let people do that if you guys travel with us. And then the other thing we're going to pay for this next year, which is very exciting, is the hot air balloon ride. You've done that, haven't you, Hoda?
I've done it twice. I've done it
Okay.
twice, yes. And yeah, I think we will be one of the very future agencies or companies that offer the hot air balloon. Usually it's an option.
Because
but
it's expensive. Yeah,
it is
it's
expensive, yes.
several
Yeah.
$100s usually.
Yeah. But because you personally did, like every single time that you came to Egypt, you've done it. And I think you loved it, and everyone in our groups loved it. So we thought that why not to offer it to our groups, where people will be on the balloon for roughly 45 minutes, and they will be flying over the mountains, so they can see the Valley of the Kings, the mountains of the Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens, all the historical archaeological sites on the west bank of Luxor, like Queen Hatshepsut temple, Ramses II temple, all the tombs of the nobles and commoners, the workers' village on the west bank, the fields, the River Nile, and the wind might take you closer to the Nile, where you can see both Luxor temple and Karnak temple on the east bank too. I remember that every single time on our last day, when we asked people about what was their favorite, what was the highlight of their Egypt trip, maybe after the pyramids, the hot air balloon would come second. If not, it would be third after the Valley of the Kings. So we came to Egypt, we've done the Valley of the Kings, we've seen the Giza pyramids, we've done the balloon ride. So yeah, that this time that would be something nice that we're adding to our tour.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. And then Valley of the Kings and Queens, that's the tomb. So those of you that saw the other day, I posted a video that I shot last time that I was in the best tomb for sure, where there was nobody there. There just happened to be nobody there the day we were there. So we got really great footage. It was really cool. So if you haven't seen that, go back on my Facebook page and you'll also find that on YouTube. That was a really neat thing. And the thing to know about the Valley of Kings and Queens, though, is that your entrance only gets you into the most popular tombs. It's only a handful. I think it's like 3 or 4 tombs come with each of the tickets, but then they have special extra charges for other tombs. And they do that because the popular ones, they want to kind of thin out the crowds. They want to discourage people in a way. So like one of them you have to pay extra for is King Tut's tomb, which everybody wants to see anyway, but it's like, that's like $20 or something, but it's over $100 to go into these 2 tombs that are really super well preserved. And that's just done to keep people out, right?
Yes. It's the tomb of King City, which is the largest, the deepest, that is being closed for over 20 years. And they only used to open it for celebrities. But about 2 years ago, the government decided to, the Antiquities Department decided to open it with a very expensive ticket. The ticket is roughly now $40. And not everyone is willing to pay the $40 to go and see it, but we are including whether city or Queen Nefertiti into our tour. So the most expensive tombs, we will include one of them, and our group can, because we'll be visiting the Valley of Kings and Valley of the Queens. So people are interested to do Queen Nefertiti, which is very expensive, we will include it. If people would like rather to do city, because it's the largest, it's the biggest. Nefertiti is beautiful, but it's tiny. City is large, is grand, is big, and it's still beautiful. So everyone has his own interest. We will offer to pay for one of the expensive one, which is not included in any of the other tours.
I didn't even know that I was paying for that. Awesome. You're just throwing all kinds of extras in there. So this is what's going to be so fun about this trip, is that we're going to do stuff that Hoda and I have always wanted to do. You know, we know what the mainstream tours do, but she and I have always, every time we do a tour together, we're like, wouldn't it be fun if we could do like that boat, like a really sexy boat. Wouldn't it be fun if we could just include the hot air balloon so everybody goes? So I don't know. I'm super excited that Hoda and I are kind of doing something new, breaking out, striking out and doing something that we've always wanted to do, because you know what? If you don't do it, like if you're going to do the thing, go big or go home, right, Hoda?
Exactly. And the thing is that we've tried it, and we know what works best for our groups and what the majority of our tour groups like. So we've decided to take the decision on their behalf and make a tour that we believe that it includes all the extras, so people don't have to think about it, and they don't have also to have this the feeling of missing out, FOMA, to hear that they FOMA. So no, we know that it's good. That's why we're gonna include it. You pay a little bit extra, but we guarantee that you will have exceptional experience with us.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait, Hoda. It's going to be so fun. So I can't believe we've talked for an hour. Geez, it went by way too fast. We like chatting too much. So, so for those of you that have been watching, just if you tuned in late, this is Hoda, who is my partner in crime, my Egyptian sister, who does all of my Egypt tours with me. And we are going to do some really cool new stuff this next year. And I'm really excited. I might even get there a couple of days early, so Hoda and I can go and do some other exploration of potential things to add in the future. So we're going to have lots of cool things going on for the Egypt tour. If you want to travel with us, there's still spots. Hoda and I will be together in March next year, and there are 4 spots left. So if you want to go, you better book ASAP. We have a fall tour, which is going to be in November or October and November. I can't remember. Oh, no, it's November. And that's going to be with Andrew. Andrew's going to go with Hoda. And that's going to be very fun, because I think those two are going to get along like a house on fire, because Andrew's pretty funny. So I think you guys are going to have a good time too. So if you want to go with the dynamic duo, though, only 4 spots left, and those are going to book up really fast. So if you're interested, you should go to my website, adventureswithsarah.net, and you'll see the link there. And if you don't want to do a tour, but you do want to go and hang out with Hoda, where can people find you, my dear?
They can find me on Adventures with Hoda, like Adventures with Sarah.
On Facebook, right?
On Facebook, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Under Adventures with Hoda. Yeah.
So if you go to Adventures with Hoda, you can follow her on Facebook, and then you can also message her through her Facebook page if you're interested in contacting her for, if you're taking a different Egypt tour and you want to hire her for a day or 2 ahead of time, or put together a private itinerary. She also does private itineraries and things like that. So she's a woman of many talents, right?
Thank you, sister.
All right, darlings, thank you so much for joining us, everybody watching, and thank you especially to my dear sister Hoda. And I'm so missing you. I might just have to come to Cairo one of these days just to surprise you. We'll have to see. But interesting, fun side note. She already knows this, but it's going to be kind of a fun thing for everybody on this tour. My Sicily tour next year most of it is a group of people that have traveled with Hoda and I before, and we've decided to bring Hoda to Sicily with us next year.
And that would be my first time ever to travel to Europe. So yeah, that would be great fun and great to see everyone on the tour, on our previous tour. So I'm really very excited to do this Italy tour with you.
Yes. So, and we're going to have to bring you out to the US one of these days as well. So one of these days, there might be a plane ticket waiting for you to come to my house. You never know. We'll see what happens.
I have to tell you that every single time that I have an American group and they ask me, have you ever been to America? And I say no. They said, okay, if you were to go to America, where would you like to go? I always say, I want to go to Seattle because my best friend is there. And she promised that one day she will bring me to Seattle. So yeah.
And that day may come sooner than you think, Hoda. So, you and I are going to have to look at schedule for the winter, because I might have to steal you for a few days at some point. So we'll see. So
we'll see. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this coffee chat with one of my absolutely favorite people. If you would like to meet the mighty Hoda, you have some options for contacting her. Adventures with Hoda on Facebook. You can also find our information about the tours we're doing on my website. Thank you so much, darling. I'll talk to you again soon. Mwah. Big love to you and to little Omer.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.